Hi everyone, welcome to our discussion on Stackable's new timeline block. I'm Bea, the community manager at Stackable, and with me is Benjamin Intal, the founder and lead developer at Stackable. So thank you all for being here with us today. We're really excited to introduce the last, but definitely not the least, feature from our current roadmap, the timeline block. So we know you've been looking forward to this, so we wanted to use this chance to explore its features more and show you how to get the most out of it. So, like always, this live stream is pre recorded, but Benjamin is still ready to answer any questions that you guys might have. So, just comment them down below in the chat section and don't hesitate to ask any questions or share your thoughts throughout this discussion.
Okay, thanks, Bea. So the timeline block is the last entry in our roadmap, and we are all very happy to let you know that it's finally here. And this video will share more about it.
So, let's begin this discussion by tackling the first question. So, what is the timeline block all about?
Okay, so the timeline block looks like this. Let me just show you. Okay, so this is a page from our website. It shows you what the timeline block looks like if you scroll down a bit here. So these are timeline blocks. So usually for a timeline block, you have a time or or sometimes a date, and then you have some content on the other side. So it's a timeline block is mostly used for storytelling or showing some sequence of events. So you can use it to showcase, for example, your history or some steps in a more visual way.
Mhm. So could you tell us why did we come out with this timeline block?
So we feel that the timeline block is one of those fundamental blocks that should be present in your typical component library. So while Stackable has a lot of blocks that you can use and build different layouts, it will still be a bit challenging to create something like a timeline layout.
Could you maybe show us how to create a timeline using the new block?
Okay, so aside from this page, I have two demos to show you. So here I just have the editor. So if you add a new timeline block, just type in timeline and then add it. So you'll see that you are greeted by some text and any type of block over on one side and the date on the other. So if you look at the composition of this block, you'll see that it has some inner blocks inside. So you have an inner column and then text. So what this means is if you know how to use the inner column, you can um, use it the same way as you would in other columns. And then you can put pretty much any type of content inside this timeline block. And then all the other options that are present in columns, you can also use. Things like the container, you can just turn them on. And then um, that's it. And so what's unique with the timeline block is that you can connect multiple timeline blocks together. So if I go here and just duplicate this timeline block, you'll see that the two dots they become connected, and then if I add one more, then it will also become connected. And then one unique feature of the timeline block is that it has this vertical line with an accent color, so you can change this color, and also it follows you along the screen while you scroll. So you have a bunch of different styling options over here, so you can move the position of your content left and right, and then you can change the gap, the spacing of the content, and then you have your different styling options, the dot size and border radius, and the colors. So for each section, you can have different styling as you need. You can style it differently. So, so that's pretty much what the timeline looks like. So I have another demo which shows you a much more advanced usage of the timeline block. So let's say over here, let's say you have some type of raffle landing page, and you decided to use the timeline block for this. So This is just a brief run through. So I have here three timeline blocks, and as you can see, you can style the blocks differently. So for the first step, this is one timeline block with different blocks inside, and then for the second block, I decided to add the background to it and then invert the colors. And as you can also see, the accent color for the timeline here, it's black, but for the second block, when you scroll down, it's a different color. So it's totally up to you on how you want to design your timeline, or your chain of timelines. So aside from the colors, um, the other features of Stackable you can also use, because you can have any block inside. So for example, here, in my raffle scenario, let's say the first step is that you want people to sign up. So you have here your sign up button that directs people to another page. And then once they're signed up already, then you can show a completed a note. So you can set it up with using other stackable features. So for this one, I can use a conditional display for this button over here, so that it will only show when for logged out users. And then for the completed text, I can make it so that it will only show up for those logged in. So you can do things like this. It's just mixing and matching the different features and different capabilities. And then, since you can use any block, then for the third step, then you can have here other blocks, like just like this countdown block. Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Benjamin, for telling us more about the timeline block and walking us through some demos and even giving us examples. So, as mentioned earlier, the timeline block is the final feature on our current roadmap, and our team is currently working on a new roadmap. And we'd love to hear from you if you have any suggestions for features you would like Stackable to have. Just comment them down below. And yeah, just let us know.
Okay, so that's right. So the timeline block concludes our first roadmap. Um, our current roadmap over here. So this roadmap was meant to bring more usability to Stackable, so to make things easier to use, and then and easier to create basic sites with even just a free version of Stackable. So our aim for the second roadmap, however, is to bring more innovation to the block editor. So the new roadmap is not yet ready, but we have some great ideas that we want to put in. And but before we finalize and release the new roadmap, we really want to hear from you guys if you have any suggestions or good ideas.
Yes, so again, we're all ears for any suggestions or ideas from all of you. And yeah, you could just simply comment them down below. Or if you haven't joined our Facebook community yet, we encourage you guys to do so we can facilitate better communication with you guys, and you could receive more updates. Moreover, to be great to connect and engage with fellow community members as well. So that's the end of our chat about the timeline block for today. While it was a short discussion, we hope you found it useful and informative when you work with the timeline block. So thank you everyone for being here and joining us today. Remember that you can still keep commenting on this video even after the stream ends, and this video will still be accessible on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. So until next time, happy stacking!